Hello, you're welcome to this week's edition of The Magnate. Today we shall be focusing on legal practice in Nigeria, vis-a-vis the global practice. And we have who should know, a legal icon, a law professional, an awardee of the Federal Republic, in fact, senior advocate of Nigeria that has taught other senior advocates. You're now guessing who I have here today. To better capture the profile of our magnate for the week, let's bring you this background report. When we come back, I'm sure you'll be glad that we are featuring this legal luminary of our time. We'll be back shortly.
Alhaji Olufemi Okunu, LLB, LOND, SAN, CON. The principal is a graduate of London University and barrister at law of the Honourable Society of Gray's Inn. He attended King's College, Lagos, 1948 to 1953, and University College, London University, London, 1956 to 1959. He was called to the English bar on 9th February 1960 and admitted to the Nigerian bar on 16th September 1960. He has been in practice ever since, save for the period of almost 8 years when he was the Federal Commissioner for Works and Housing, May 1967 to December 1974. He resumed legal practice in January 1975 and soon thereafter in July founded the legal firm of Femi Okunu & Co. He was in 1992 elevated to the coveted rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in recognition of his distinguished career at the bar. Alhaji Femi Okunu SAN, CON, was first elected to the Executive Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association in 1963 and remained a member till 1968. When he assumed public office, he also served as a member of the General Council of the Bar, 1966 to 1967. Alhaji Okunu was the editor of the Nigerian Bar Journal, an annual journal of the Bar Association, between the periods 1964 to 1967. A prolific writer, Alhaji Femi Okunu is the author of the following books, among other publications: No Pact, No Base, A Critique of the Anglo-Nigerian Defence Pact, Contemporary State Land Matters in Nigeria, The Case of Lagos State, 2003, The Sharia, Adultery as a Case Study, 2003 to 2017, In the Service of the Nation, An Autobiography, 2010. A book, Law and Development in Nigeria, was published in 2004 in his honor. It was edited by Prof. I.O. Smith, Dean of the Faculty of Law, Lagos University, and contains well-informed and well-researched articles by erudite law scholars and teachers. There are two other publications published in his honor on the occasion of his 80th birthday in February 2013. Third Bearers of Islam in Lagos State, Mr. Olufemi Okunu has appeared in several high-profile cases, especially in constitutional and land laws before the Supreme Court of Nigeria, Court of Appeal, regional and state high courts over the years, challenging abuse of power by the federal, regional and state governments.
This is The Magnate. We are reaching you from the chamber of Femi Okunu & Co. And guess what? You have seen or heard the profile. And it's my great pleasure to be joined by the legal luminary himself, Alhaji Lateef Femi Okunu. Join us for the conversation. It's a great pleasure to be in the midst of Alhaji Abdulateef Femi Okunu. Thank you very much for joining us on this program, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we must congratulate you for the robust law practice you've had over the years.
Well, we thank God.
Thank you, sir. Now, let's look at, we are going to focus, as much as legal practice is quite broad in, the law practice itself. We want to zero in on the rights of citizens. How do you think, from your practice over the years, Nigerian citizens has really been given their rights and pride of place in law?
Well, since independence, Nigeria has always had a place for human rights in its constitution. I refer in particular to the 1960 constitution. That's when Nigeria was a dominion, independent. In 1963 constitution, when Nigeria became a republic. The 1979 constitution, which I was one of the 50 Nigerians invited all over the country to draft, and also the current 1999 Constitution. All of them contain provisions for fundamental human rights.
Okay, thank you very much for that background. Now, would you say that there's justice for the poor in the country?
Relatively. As long as cases are brought to the courts, and I was quite involved in enforcement of fundamental human rights in some years ago. I think there is a measure of justice in enforcing fundamental rights. Whether they apply, the governments, the authorities, follow the principles, try to enforce fundamental rights, a different thing entirely.
Yes, because that's where I want to go to. You are speaking, I don't know from what point of view, but the poor, average poor man will say there's no justice. I don't know if you've been confronted with the fact of maybe even doing pro bono services for the poor to really know, to be able to have justice for them.
Well, I have been involved in free service legal practice for enforcement of fundamental human rights at one point in my career or the other. I was very active in politics, not party politics, in politics in the early 60s, before I became federal commissioner. I was in enforcing fundamental human rights. I did that on the platform of Nigerian Youth Congress, which I was, thank God, I was more or less the founder.
An advocate.
Yes. We fought for fundamental human rights. I remember clearly, I believe about 63, 64, when Baliwa's government brought up a bill for detention of Nigerians without any reason. Detention bill. And at that time, I had a 5-minute slot on NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Service, from 7:10 after the news, world news, to 7:15. And I went on air and I spoke against the detention bill. And that became a focus for discussion in the country.
Editorials and analysis.
Until the detention bill was repealed. I fought that alone. The newspapers were full of reports at the time. I can't remember whether it's 1964, 65. Oh, yes, we tried to enforce fundamental human rights. In the political era, Shagari's regime, I did fight for fundamental human rights. And when civilians came in again in 1999, in the early years, I did some work in this cause.
Congratulations, you've really been there fighting for the cause of the the common man on the street. Now, let's look at the reforms in the law practice, sir. How do you think this has really benefited the average Nigerian?
Well, that will involve a long discussion because societies change, persons also change. And perception changes. Persons not only in government, but the governed. On the whole, it's been slow, but it's still steady. There are still many people who have no access to fundamental human rights. Very many, in millions. But again, you have lawyers. Everybody cannot do pro bono service for those who are in need. So we are left in the hands of politicians who try to govern. But in fairness to them, some are good, many are not good enough to satisfy.
You are a social critic. All right, thank you very much. Now, you've had an enviable law practice. One would have expected maybe at a point or so, you probably, say, okay, let me go to the bench. No, to the bar. My question is, how would you How would you analyze, how would you rate the relationship between the bar and the bench in Nigeria comparatively to the global practice?
Well, well, a good number of us at the bar in the 60s were trained in England or in Great Britain, because it included those who went to the Republic of Ireland, Trinity College, to study law. We managed we brought back what we learned about practice of law in the United Kingdom and Ireland. It's not the same as the home brewed. The home brewed at the beginning were trained by some of us, foreign trained. And the relationship between us, between barristers, was very excellent. In the court, you fight tooth and nail for your client. But as soon as we step out of the courtroom, we remain as friends. You'll find barristers of those days, in the 60s especially, after legal battle in the court, they retire to a bar or restaurant to have meals together. But that died gradually over the years. That was the type of practice which I found in Nigeria and I followed in my practice.
Interesting. We're still chatting with Alhaji Femi Okuno, a legal icon, a barrister, and a teacher of lawyers. In fact, some of them are already senior advocates of Nigeria. Let's go for this short break. Let's take a breather. When we come back, there are so many other issues regarding law practice that he needs to shed light on. We are tapping from his wealth of knowledge. We'll be back shortly. You're welcome back. The program is still The Magnate, and we are zeroing on the law practice today. And we have a father of law practice in Nigeria. I'm sure the law practice in Nigeria will not be complete. You've just heard the resume and all the things he has catalogued, particularly even the constitution that governs us. Welcome back to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, sir, we know, research shows that you sit quite on a number of boards, companies. Now, a lot of businesses are probably nosediving. What do you think, or how do you think that, what's the relevance of a law department in any company for them to be able to thrive?
Well, the large companies always have their own legal department. That's in-house to look after in-house matters. In those days, the legal practitioners in these companies did not go to court. They farm out any legal matter will require attendance in court. Chief Shonekon, Ernest Shonekon, for example, was the head of the legal department of USC.
Wow.
And he would not, by convention, and I think by some legal norms also, would not go to court. Legal practitioners, that's lawyers, we call ourselves legal practitioners in Nigeria, in, say, Lagos Town Council, would not ordinarily go to court in those days. They were all confined to their establishments, Lagos Town Council, right? But matters involving appearance in court would be farmed out to retain, some of them may retain lawyers who will handle these cases for them. Large-scale companies also, in construction industry, in a commercial business also hard. That's companies we can afford. So it's neater that way. And it went on well.
Okay, what of those who cannot afford? Maybe small businesses. What do they need legal
No,
department?
in that case, the small business we cannot afford are not obliged. You farm your matters to other retained solicitors you have, that's retained lawyers, or any other you can call on.
Okay. In these times of economic downturn, how do you counsel business owners? There has been a lot of issues. First of all was the pandemic, and then of course one we are going to dwell much on later on is the answers that took a lot of toll on businesses. How do you think they can survive after now?
Well, like other sectors of the society, we all try to manage to survive. What a good number of businesses do, including legal practitioners, you reduce the working hours of your staff because money is not coming in. Income is not flowing as it used to flow. Business on the downtown. So you reduce the number of hours per week or per day. Take legal practice. The courts are not sitting, so that also affects the lawyer's obligation to go to court. So it affects, the pandemic affects lawyers like any other sector of the economy, every other program. We pray that the governments at the center, and especially the state governments, would manage injection which they give to people, because that area is for states to plan and manage, not federal government.
Now, obviously, there's no how there won't be dispute here and there. I mean, as a lawyer, how best do you think dispute can be managed, either with an individual, companies, intergovernment, intercountry? These are things we hear of. How best can dispute be managed? We hear of alternative dispute resolution.
Well, in the commercial circles, the Arbitration Act is still there. It's been there for, can I say, maybe the best part of the last century, and it's still there today. To intervene, you don't go to court, you go to arbitration if the two parties agree. It's faster because the arbitrator listens to your case only. You agree on who will be the arbitrator. You may agree that another body, like the institution of surveyors, if it's land matter, or of engineers, which if affairs engineering, should choose the number 3, the third person on the panel. Otherwise, it's the alternative dispute resolution is there. The system is there. Lagos State has a fairly good section for that. That's the High Court, to see that those little matters we do not need full-scale hearing are heard and decided upon, and the court simply ratifies the agreed position. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Again, the legal practice, the legal profession is such an interesting one. Sometimes ago, we heard a lot of, hue and cry, particularly when it concerns the issue of corruption. As an elder statesman in that profession, how would you rate this? How would you clarify? A few people, let's say, has probably dented the profession. What's your take?
Let's face it, lawyers are members of society, like any other profession, like those in business. So the level of corruption cannot be attached to one profession or the other. Lawyers are human beings, but they are trained to be above the norm. Because if a lawyer is found guilty of corruption, he will lose his livelihood, he may be debarred from legal practice. So that ultimate is something for an average lawyer to look onto and be sure that he's not involved in any form of corruption.
Aren't you worried? I mean, this is a profession a few of you have nurtured so well, and then a few other people are coming to give it a bad name. Are you not worried?
No. The issue of corruption is part of the problem of education, how education evolves. Education, civics. I'm very lucky to have attended King's College, Lagos, where civics education began. And that was in about 1949, 1950. After the general strike by students in 1948 against the school authorities, especially boarders. A repeat of 1944 strike by students of King's College against the authority. And the colonial government scouted around the Commonwealth and brought Mr. J.R. Bunting, who was headmaster at one of the government schools in Jamaica, to be the principal of King's College. He introduced the teaching of civics into Nigeria, and we were the first products of civics education in Nigeria. He did two things, for example. Civics as a class subject, how to become a good citizen, the role of a good citizen, tolerance, accepting defeat with grace, accepting victory with some humility. Other aspects of civics to be a good citizen was a subject once a week by all students at King's College in my time. And he also introduced Students' Council into King's College. For students at the time in the late 40s, early 50s, when Nigeria was going through political revolution from British rule to Nigerian rule, when the Constitution, Richard's Constitution, was being reviewed to give way to Macpherson Constitution, which brought about federal system of government in Nigeria. Our principal set up a students' council. He asked us by elected students. Each class had representatives. Each society, fishing club, boxing club, students' council, also had representative to draft the students' constitution by ourselves. We drafted, I happened to be a member of that drafting committee. The principal approved, okay, and we had the students' council with 5 or so committees. Games committee, food committee, and so on. And elected each society and each class 2 members to the students' council. And apart from that, there was election by all the students of the secretary to the students' council, all by ourselves. And I was humbled to have been elected the first secretary of King's College Students' Council.
Wow.
To summon the Students' Council as a parliament with the principal as our president. After some time, he bowed down and elected a new principal. And he left us to manage certain aspects of the school. Now, unfortunately, it's not as it used to be. This program was adopted countrywide. Civics as compulsory education for citizenship, to be a good citizen. Enjoy your rights. Claim your rights.
Sir, would you say that is what informed your taking on the legal profession with this background you have?
In a way, because at the time, my best subject was history. And I said to myself, the highest I could attain as a historian would be a professor in a university. But for public service, that's why I opted for law.